to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any minutes or reports received online?
No, we don't.
Commissioner committee liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
We do have another meeting this afternoon. We'll talk about the senior tax freeze, 2 o'clock. Closed sessions tomorrow. We have communities Thursday morning. We have extension, Cole County Extension Council Thursday evening. Lions Thursday evening. Eastside Business Association Friday morning. Fish fries, I don't know where they're all at.
April has, I gotta take care of our auditor.
Yeah, he's not up
Yeah.
yet, up not south.
Yeah, we gotta do state show.
Cattleman's Banquet Saturday night. So, talk about fish and talk about prime rib. Doesn't get any better than that. I think that's it.
Today, I'm going to listen in Zoom call or meeting of Missouri State Tax Commission. I think it's a regularly scheduled meeting. Tomorrow is West Central County Commissioners Legislative Day at the Capitol. Thursday is the communities. Did you mention communities?
Yes.
And also West Side Business Association. That's it.
Yeah, I've got all that. Only other thing, on Thursday, we have the United Way Golf Tournament meeting at 10 a.m., Brian?
9.
Or, I mean, 9. See, the one said 9 and the other one said 10.
Are you representing for us?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Thought somebody's there.
And we need caddies, so, and people drive the refreshment carts, so I'm gonna volunteer.
All right. I don't know if there's as many golf balls that way.
Okay, appointment by commission. Appointment of Hal Dooley to complete the remainder of Connie Cunningham's term on the Cole County Parks Committee. Hal had asked to serve and basically he's the only applicant we had, and Hal will attend the meeting, so, yeah.
I'll make a motion, be in order of the county commission to appoint someone to complete the Connie Cunningham, who, by the way, did an excellent job serving on that committee, to appoint Hal Dooley to serve the remaining term on this Cole County, what do we call this?
Parks
Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we have any commission comments?
Yes. I had intended to keep something going on the agenda that has drifted off, but it's under old business. I do want to mention that I made contact with the State Tax Commission yesterday, I guess it was, to just check on when the State Tax Commission is going to publish the findings of the latest sales ratio studies, which we know the results of our county, and they're not good. Those will be published shortly, according to the State Tax Commission. But it's worth noting that if you know, we have 115 assessors in Missouri, 114 counties in the city of St. Louis. We break those counties into size, and of those 114 counties, 13 of them are first-class counties. Cole is a first-class county. Then there are 5 charter counties, and when you put the city of St. Louis with it, that's 19, well, you shouldn't call them super, but 19 of the 115 are bigger than the rest, bigger than the second, third, and fourth-class counties. And I wanted to know how our county fared with those 19 counties. And the truth is, not good, but it's also a bad group of fellows or gals, because of those 19, 13 are out of compliance with the state tax commission. 13 out of 19. This is 85 of 115 are out of compliance. So it's this kind of a pandemic that's hit the assessors in terms of being compliant with those sales ratio studies. And the very worst county of those 16 that have failed, the worst one is Taney County. The second worst is Cass County, and the third worst is Cole County. So we still have, I think the Board of Equalization may have some extra work come July if our assessor has not shown by Form 11, which he'll file then, whether or not he has followed the memorandum of understanding. So just be prepared. I hope I'm pleasantly surprised that we don't have to do some kind of an order coming to us from the State Tax Commission.
So
That's
if we up some of them this year and say we're gonna look at it in the next assessment year and make adjustments, is that what they're looking for? Or what kind of plan are they wanting to do in a non-assessment year?
Well, I'm not sure it's the non-assessment year isn't, I mean, the assessment year isn't over yet. Now,
And it's supposedly gonna do the other half of the county for this.
true, well, per the MOU, 3 townships, 9, 10, and 14, which include almost half of the residences in the county, those were gonna be addressed and raised by up to 13% per the MOU. The other half of the county, which is, he alleges he looked at 2 years ago, we're going to the other half would be adjusted to progress toward fair market value as needed for 2015. And that's what I think will become apparent when the Form 11, when he turns the numbers in, did he progress and did he live with the MOU that he signed and the 3 commissioners at the State Tax Commission signed? We'll see. And I guess we'll know, I think June the 15th
Yeah, when's the BOE
or
start?
sooner. BOE starts in July.
Yeah,
It is July.
Mhm.
yeah, it has to be finished by the end of July, so.
And BOE is Board of Equalization, in case we're talking too much inside baseball.
Acronyms.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand what BOE's gonna do.
Nor do I. I don't know how the BOE is gonna do what the flow chart says we have to do. It will
Yeah.
we'll follow their order to the extent we can. But apparently we're in good company with a lot of other counties.
Yeah, including Boone County. I think that
Including
was
Boone.
kind of surprising.
I mean, here's the first-class counties that are non-compliant: Greene, Jasper, Platte, Clay, Jefferson, Boone, Cape, Cass, Cole, Franklin, St. Francis, Taney, and then the city of St. Louis. So, I just wanted to keep that on the radar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, bids and contracts. Signing a class action service agreement with Optum.
This came to my attention through UMR from our carrier, that there was a class action lawsuit that was filed and I guess has been won. That they were looking for people that, Jill could explain the class action lawsuit maybe better than I could.
Well, what it is UMR is, has contacted all of their customers, or whatever you want, however you want to characterize yourself, to participate because they're alleging that Walgreens overcharged on prescriptions. And I'm not sure where the posture of it is now. I don't think it's been litigated yet. They're just wanting to see if you're gonna be a participating plaintiff in that. It's kind of like the opioid, so.
Yeah. And this is from 2007 to 2024. And so it would, through Optum, they would do the class action work for us,
Yeah.
since we were with them at that point. And they would, if we were to win anything, they would take 18% of it, and then we would get the rest of it. So I did check with Wall Street and through UMR, and there's no really,
No downside.
yes, there's no downside to that, so.
There's an upside.
But,
We could get settlement
yeah,
money.
So Jill's looked over this,
It's just a very simple agreement.
so I'd ask you if we could,
I would make a motion to sign, to be part of the class action lawsuit versus Walgreens and sign the contract with Optum to participate.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
Signing of addendum with the Nun Company.
You guys signed this agreement a couple of weeks ago for the assessor's office with the Nun Company. There wasn't a do not exceed amount on there, so we asked him to get a new contract or an addendum to the contract, which he did, and now there's a do not exceed of $15,000 on there.
Make a motion to sign the addendum to the contract with the Nun Company.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of professional services proposal from Architects Alliance for the shop addition and renovation.
So back late last year, we sent out an RFQ for qualifications from an architect company to do the design work on an expansion to the shop, which is I guess, the southernmost portion of the Monticello facility. And went through that process, reviewed, and determined that Architects Alliance was the best suited to do that project. I've been working with Curtis Gobin on a proposal which he submitted last week. And the cost for this work, and just real quick, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna add on an 84 by 70 foot addition to the building with a 25-foot clear height. Right now, we have 16 feet in the current shop. We'll reconstruct a portion of the existing shop to match that 25-foot height. Also build a wash bay and install air conditioning, an oil burning furnace. We'll have to remove some of the concrete floor in the existing shop to replace the drain that is deteriorating and needs to be replaced to match the new drain that'll be added for the whole floor of the whole completed facility, and then also an oil separator and containment. So the cost from Architects Alliance, their proposal is $106,890, and then there's direct owner cost for the site survey and geotech study for $2,110, and then $10,000, so a grand total of $119,000. And this would be to go through the whole process to determine the exact needs, prepare the design, and with plan specifications and estimate to be able to bid out. We'll get to the point where we'll do, I don't know, in the architect world, we call it 95% plans. In the engineer world, we'll get them to that point, and knowing that, we'll have to determine when we'll have funding to do this. So we won't tidy everything up, complete the whole package until we're ready to bid it, but we'll get it really close to that point so we can have an estimate. So, so again, the grand total for the project to do the design work is $119,000. And we had budgeted in the 806 sales tax budget of $100,000, so we're a little over that, but not terribly over. And we do need to proceed with this project, at least to get the design, to come up with estimates, to be able to search for grants that might be out there, or find other ways to fund it. This is needed. The shop is too short. We can't work on some of our bigger stuff. You can't raise it up all enough, fully on the lift. And then there's just capacity concerns, especially as we're taking on more of the county fleet. We would like to add the sheriff and then ultimately EMS. So again, this is just for the design work. $119,000 would be the total cost.
So would this make, so we can accommodate ambulances at some future date?
Yes, this would be the full build out of the shop to be able to add those at a later date.
Okay.
This allows you to put the salt beds on the vehicles under roof as opposed to
Yes.
out in the elements, right?
Yeah, currently we we have the lift outside, you can't get it inside because it's the big gantry crane or whatever, the overhead,
Right.
yeah.
This is before our frequent flyer miles we have with Architects Alliance. So we take our frequent flyer miles off of this price, right? Curtis?
Yeah. So, again, we spent quite a bit of time going through, and we had some pretty good proposals, but just determined Architects Alliance with their familiarity with the county, and then also with local contractors and, vendors and other consultants, sub-consultants that have to work on the project. We felt like they were the best choice for this. So, if you guys approve of this, I'll bring to you a contract to sign at a later date, but I just wanted to get this in front of you just to make sure we're good going forward.
So I brought up with you earlier about the budget at 100,000, and so we got 119,000. Then you said the 100,000 is coming out 806, but that's capital improvements.
The 806 would be the 15% county facilities, part of the sales tax.
I guess I'm trying to figure out why we're taking that out of the capital improvements part of it, because we usually use that for capital improvements here in this area. And the only reason I'm gonna kind of argue this, because you all do have your own sales tax coming in for public works. So it should be able to help towards these kind of projects as well. I know it's gonna cut into some of your other money for other projects.
I guess, where do you draw the line? Is it a road or is it not a road? Is that the line that you're using, sort of? If it's a road, it's in the 85%. If it's not, it's in the 15. And whether the 15 is the courthouse here or a county building there, it's
So-
15.
Historically, we have used the 15% for improvements out at the Public Works facility. Most recently was on the fuel, redoing the whole fuel system and the tanks and everything. That was the most recent. Repairs to the building, when we bought that crane, we used the 15% for that. I think the crossover, and sometimes the line's a little blurry, and I think we do need to determine as we go into the next sales tax what that line should be. So that discussion needs to be had, but
Next time.
next time, exactly. For now, I think it's in keeping that this would be a 15%, and, I appreciate what you're saying, Jeff, but,
Yeah, I didn't remember if we talked about it in budget time, if it's
Yeah.
coming out of 806 or not. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't do this for an EMS building with 806. And that's kind of the way I see this one.
Well, there you go. He's got his own sales tax for his buildings. So, yeah, that's-
So today, they got 85% of the half-cent sales tax. And
for road,
EMS only
not
has-
really for buildings, though. It's for road and bridge.
It's road and
improvements.
bridge.
Yeah.
And you could argue that the shop repairs the vehicles that work on the road and bridge, but we're also repairing other county facilities.
Yeah, I mean, I've argued with myself, obviously, that we are doing stuff.
Yep.
When
countywide
you
for us.
argue with yourself, who wins?
I'll tell you what, it's a long,
It's a draw.
drawn-out affair, and I'm glad y'all don't have to partake in it. So, it's just something I was just kicking around, because we got a lot of stuff that needs to be done around here. And I know y'all got a lot of stuff that y'all need to do as well. But, like I say, we wouldn't use it for EMS, and I know they've got their sales tax, 3/8.
Just say, you got the final decision, it's up to you, I mean.
It's less than that, because you roll back 60% towards property tax, so half of 0.5%, basically, so.
40% half.
Well, I mean, I think we did already agree to do it this way, it's kind of something to consider.
It was budgeted that way, right?
Yeah, it was.
806, yeah.
I didn't want to let Eric off too easy today.
Over the 5 years of the current capital improvements time, and we're in year 3,
We're in year 4, actually.
Year 4.
Yeah.
It has grown, or it has revenue in excess of what was projected.
Mhm.
So although 19% on one item seems like high, we are, the bucket has got enough money in it to do it, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think we're tracking about, when the whole sales tax is said and done for the 5-year period, about 20% over what we budgeted for, so it's kind of in line with that, but.
I'm good.
I'm gonna make a motion to proceed with approval of the professional services. You will bring the contract
Yes.
later,
To award it to him then.
to award it to Architects Alliance, yes.
Okay. Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Approval and signing of Health Department irrigation service contract.
This one's a little bit easier. We installed the irrigation system out at the health department last fall, and with that brings annual service, cleaning it out and prepping it for winter and that kind of thing. And so all in one, they did the installation, and we have a contract for the yearly service for this year. It's $235. And this will be managed by the Parks Department, and then also it'll come out of the Parks budget, the facilities landscaping part of the budget. So just need signing of this agreement. Yeah.
That's a park.
Well, that's when we developed the Parks Department.
I might give this one to Harry now.
We added in that the Parks Department would also maintain county landscaping facility improvements, so that's how that evolved.
So when mothers are taking their kids there for shots, they say, we're not going to the health department, we're going to the park.
Well,
That front yard is
you can ask Christie that.
So we can have picnics there and everything here. Just
Can.
All right, good. I'll make a motion to approve and sign the health department irrigation service contract with All in One.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Amendment to the Sheriff's Department uniforms.
This is amendment with Leon Uniform Company. The sheriff's department just needed to add 2 badges to their current contract.
Two badges.
Just 2 badges, 2 different types.
Is it adding cost to it, or is it just adding the,
There's a cost at the bottom, or at the,
but didn't they have badges before on the?
they didn't have it on their original contract. And
Did
so,
they have them on the uniforms before?
I'm not gonna remember.
Probably did them before.
I don't know.
I just hadn't heard anything about this, so I didn't know right offhand. I don't know if did you talk to the sheriff about it, or? So there's a couple different badges, I guess they sold them into the uniforms, so why wouldn't that have been included in the uniform bid?
It was something that they didn't include when we were bidding it out, and so now they decided they needed to add them into their contract as needed.
just a song.
And it's not that big of an amount either, but I mean, it's, sometimes you get vehicles and all of a sudden you want a radio and tires for it. Alright.
I'd be having trouble finding somebody to do it.
I don't know where they got them before.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion, and we'll give the sheriff a rough time later. I'll make a motion to sign the amendment to the service agreement for the 2020-32 uniforms contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Renewal 3 of elevator maintenance and repair services.
This is the 3rd renewal for our elevator maintenance and repair services with Otis Elevator. They're proposing a 3.5% increase, making their total $16,146. Greg's been pleased with their services over the years, and our recommendation is to renew with them.
I'll make a motion. Renewal 3 of elevator maintenance and repair services with, let me give a contractor name here,
Otis Elevator Company.
Otis Elevator Company.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Bid award on Lakewood subdivision stormwater improvements, project number 2023-201-1.
So last Friday, we opened bids for the Lakewood stormwater improvements. And GWH Landscaping read low. There was a total of 4 bids. Their total price was $537,227.68. The engineer's estimate was $422,165. And this involves improvements to the stormwater drainage system in Lakewood subdivision.
And what was the final amount, I'm sorry?
$537,227.68.
You're slipping, you were always.
I did, this was actually a consultant project, so I've got a skate on that.
So, why were they so far off? I mean, is it their first time or what?
I think the prices are just starting to go up on
I know
everything.
they should make adjustments. I mean, you've probably been making adjustments on yours that you're getting this engineer estimates for, so. I
But
don't know why they can't learn that as well. It just makes it a lot easier. You kind of know what to expect. This is 20% more than, 25% more than what the engineer's estimate was, so.
I think we're on a learning curve right now on some of these projects recently.
Well, I'd be on a learning curve too, but I'd be fine going over and being prepared for the worst. Instead of, now we got that 100,000 right there, kind of difference between. That's what you're doing.
we actually
Different
had,
fund though, right?
we actually had $750,000 budgeted for this project. The majority of this, we will finish up our ARPA funds for stormwater with it. So we will need to, I'll need to get with you on that, Debbie, but I think we'll finish out all of our ARPA funds with this project, and then whatever's left over, we can take out of our 807 budget, so.
And
So,
then,
the budgeted amount for the project was $750,
that's what we were originally looking at.
so there's some saving grace for us. Man.
And this project, it's a series of improvements out there, so, we got several of these large subdivision projects coming up where we'll do the underground infrastructure, get all that done one year, and then the next year follow up with a full overlay, so got a lot of that going on over the next few years.
All right, well, it sounds like you had a pretty good idea of where to put this price tag and for us not to be surprised, so.
Never cease to amaze you, do I, Jeff?
Yeah. We still won't let you chew gum though, because you gotta walk around. Can't let you off too easy today either. Yep, I'll get it there.
I'll make a motion to award the Lakewood subdivision stormwater improvements project number 2023-201-1 to GWH Landscape Contracting LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Approval and signing of cooperative agreement between the University of Missouri Healthcare and Cole County EMS. Chief.
Sheriff's here now too, in
Yeah,
case
you
you have
wanna ask
questions
him about
about
that?
badges. Can I help you? Yeah, I'm here to help.
Your uniform.
Was your uniform contract originally done without badges?
Yes, we bought badges in a separate vendor, but the going through Leon's is a damn sight cheaper, so that's why we changed it to them. Looking out for the citizens of Cole County, like I always do.
So it
Here's
wasn't
my-
necessarily an amendment to the, was it an amendment to the contract?
We're adding to the contract.
But he's saying.
So they're buying them, or we're buying them and then selling them on, or,
It's not sewing, it's the metal. It's the actual badges.
oh, the actual badges,
Not
not
the-
part
not
of the
the-
uniform?
Not the goofy ones like his, but real badges, the stars.
Well, I wouldn't really even bother you.
Just remember, I'm the good news guy.
I'm saving money, as far as you know.
We like saving money. Okay,
All right, so this is a cooperative agreement between us and the University of Missouri Healthcare to allow our upcoming EMT students to do their clinical observation at Cap Region and the University Hospital. It'll allow our EMT students to go and observe and get their clinical hours. Jill had a hand in preparing this contract and has signed off on it. They have approved, but they would like to sign us first, or like us to sign first. Happy to answer any questions. And there is some cost.
Are we breaking new ground here? Has this ever been, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so this will be the first EMT class that we have taught as an agency. We've done several emergency medical responders or EMR classes. That's a much shorter, much less in-depth version of what we're going to do, and that doesn't require any clinical time. So this was definitely a first, and as of yesterday, class is completely full, confirmed 18 students. So super excited about that.
and then we get to pick the best of the
Yes,
18.
it will allow us an entire semester to
I see, I like
recruit
that.
and develop who we want to pick.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the cooperative agreement between the University of Missouri Healthcare and Cole County EMS.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bid award of 2025-14 renovations of the Cole County Fire Protection District Station Number 2.
So we had the bid opening for the renovations of Fire Station 2 in Brazito on March 27th. We had one vendor submit a response, which was GBH, and their total was $125,880. The fire district will be reimbursing the county for the exterior doors and windows, as well as half of the reflooring placement, which is option 2. So that would make our total $96,080 once all said and done.
So a couple things to keep in mind here. The budget approved in my capital budget this year was $120,000. So the base bid, which is the work that we knew we wanted to have done and the county would pay for, is the $78,600. The exterior windows and doors, since the structure is owned by the County Fire Protection District, they agreed to replace those, and their cost is $19,900 for that. And then because we were so far under what was allotted as the base budget, we did want to include a couple other options that we thought would be relevant. One of them was replacing the floor and then adding an air purification system in the apparatus bay, which cleans all the exhaust fumes and keeps them from getting into the living quarters. So once we opened the bid and we saw what the price was, we approached the Fire Protection District to see if they would be willing to pay for half of the flooring, since both agencies were fairly under budget in this, and they were agreeable to that. And then we did go ahead and decide that we wanted to do the air purification system. So all in all, our out-of-pocket cost is still at that $96,000 and some change mark. I would probably ask when we prepare the contract to put in a $10,000 contingency, since this is a remodel, and then the rest of that budget line would go to furniture and fixtures. So super happy with the way the bid came in, and we are very pleased with GBH and their previous projects. We would recommend the bid be awarded to them. Happy to answer any questions.
How long have we been out there at Station 2?
6, 7 years, something like that.
Seems long.
It might be longer than that. I don't know if that was a Chief Lindeworth thing or if that was done before him.
For sure beforehand.
Okay, yeah.
They've been out there since I've been on the department.
Okay, so then, yeah.
So we went out there and looked at that, and that
25 years old.
needs some updating and fixing.
Yeah, we think the building is about 25 years old.
I was hoping we'd get more bidders than just one, but I don't think that's way out of line. So who's picking all the flooring and paint and stuff? Y'all got that settled with the fire?
Yeah, we'll work with the fire department, get them to approve on it. And then the design was really design build, so we'll work with GBH to come up with the kitchen layout and those sorts of things.
Okay.
After redoing all the bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen,
All right. I'll make a motion to award the 2025-14 renovation of the Cole County Fire Protection District Station Number 2 to GBH Builders for the $96,080. I'm just gonna stop it there. We can talk about the other 10,000 at FF&E, 'cause that'd be separate, right?
Yeah, so how do you want to do it for the full?
Second,
Okay.
yeah, I'll second that. Go ahead.
We
So-
might want to do it for the full 125 because the fire protection district is going to reimburse us.
Right.
So we'll pay GBH and then we'll get reimbursed. So you might want to reword that for the full 125 for the bid award.
I think that's probably our cleanest option.
And if you're worried, we could do an MOU with them to pay
Yeah.
us back.
That's going to be in the works, in the lease and
Okay.
of the building and the whole.
If that can clean that up a little bit, then, yeah, I'll amend mine to make the award of the contract at the $125,880.
Yep.
I'll second the amended language.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, new business. Accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending your review.
A motion to approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 2.
This is for $22,990. This was the exact amount of the child support salary adjustments that we needed to do, and so we need to increase the budget on both sides. So I'd ask for approval today.
I'll make a motion to adopt budget adjustment number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. LG inverter repair for the Pranger Family Center.
All right. Back in January, I sent you all a text, and you all replied, get it fixed, because it was 20 degrees outside. This is off a cooperative agreement to fix it. The inverter, it's a 480 volt inverter, and it fried just about everything in the system. We expedited it, got it all fixed within a couple weeks. Finally got all the bills back, and the bills are $20,794.80. Just asking to what account number we'd like to pay this out of.
Capital improvements on that.
Is it maintenance, or are we actually buying something?
We bought 3 compressors, an inverter board, reversing valves, so.
Is it gonna last for at least 5 years?
I'm not answering that.
Say yes, and then it'll be.
You hope.
Say yes, it'll be capital, okay. I was gonna actually, if we took it out of capital, I was gonna hold off on doing the tuck pointing on 209, which was approved for this year. We'll just put it off till next year.
I think it qualifies as capital.
Okay.
806, then.
I'll make a motion to approve the LG converter repair cost to Springer Center for $20,794.80.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Discussion on parks and park improvements.
So we got a lot of items to cover here today, and it's the result of our Parks Committee meeting 2 weeks ago. But before we do that, we have a special presentation. So Commissioner Helser, I know a lot of times you clip out articles from newspapers, and I know my son was in the paper one time when he was graduating and had a nice little note written on there and had your little seal and everything. And so we just felt like it was a great opportunity when we saw an article about you in the paper to return the favor. And so last summer, we dedicated the Brooks Park new playground surface, and you just happened to be caught going down the slide. So Matt and I felt like it was, we just felt like it was nice of us to return the favor and have this laminated in your favorite Chiefs colors. And, it says, thank you for your support of Cole County Parks, and Matt and I signed it, and we also stamped it with our engineer seal. So it's not a stick-on, that's the real deal, so.
To make it official.
So cherish the grace.
We've actually had that sitting around for a while and looking for the opportune day to do it, and on April Fool's.
There you go.
That'd be good.
Unjust day.
You just pitch that one up there.
So, now to get a little more serious.
That might have been forgotten by now.
No. We could not forget that one. So, a little more serious, but not so much. This is just a conversation on what we discussed at the last Parks meeting, which was on March 20th. And there's several items that we're starting to look at for improvements, and we just wanted to go over these and let you know where we're at on some things. And did I hand you a copy of those? Yeah, okay. You can have one too. There's some. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So if you look in your packet that I submitted yesterday, there's some drawings. So the first one, the city sewer department is replacing their pump station and holding tank that's part of Thanen Park. When that property was donated to the county, they had all the sewer facilities there done at that time, I believe, and it was kind of a remnant property, so the county got it and built the park. But the sewer holding tank and pump station into a force main is there, located on site. And they're doing a bunch of work in Westview right now. They just finished a gravity project, and then they're doing the force main that'll go from here all the way up to actually County Park. It'll run through Westview and on through. So a lot of items in Westview happening with that. And then, as I talked earlier, getting all the underground stuff done. We're close on Westview with South Brooks project, hopefully to come later this year. We'll be ready to overlay after this sewer project's done. But down there at the park, they're having to replace the whole everything, and it's gonna be a lot larger holding tank. Most of it's gonna be underground. Some of the fenced-in equipment area, that expands a little bit. But there's a stormwater pipe that drains from the road out to the creek underneath actually the whole park. It'll run up close to the pavilion and then go under the playground. And what we want to do is replace that pipe. It would be a road and bridge expense, so not on parks. And we're working with the consultant doing the engineering work for the sewer department. They're gonna design this pipe and bid it in with the sewer project. So won't be a whole lot of extra items that we'll have to do, but we'll have to pay for it. But we'll work that into our road and bridge budget, not a problem there. But some items with the park, the pavilion, it's almost certainly gonna have to be picked up, moved, and maybe replaced or put back where it's at. Not sure exactly how far we'll get into that, but there will be some things to the pavilion we'll have to address. Probably we can absorb that into just our regular maintenance budget. But then the playground, if you look at the aerial photo showing that, that pipe does go underneath the swing set, and half of the, not half, but a good part of that playground surfacing area. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I think, that pipe burnt. A good part of that burnt, and we had to replace it. We just added on the best we could, knowing that we did need to replace the whole pipe at some point. So this will give us a good opportunity to replace the pipe with the sewer project. And we're looking at what it would take to replace that playground equipment. It is approaching 25 years old, maybe not quite, but it's getting close. And I know when that gets to that age, sometimes, we need to consider replacement. So right now, there's no definite plans. We think we can probably just take down the swing set, put it back after the pipe's replaced, but we do need to be thinking a little more long-term about what to do with that equipment. So if the right opportunity came along, I know we met with a vendor a couple weeks ago, and they had some sales going on some of their equipment, but that was me. You weren't in on that. It was me, Kevin and Aaron, but $25,000 range maybe, and we don't have the money in the parks budget to do that, obviously, and we're expended out beyond what we had budgeted in the sales tax. So, but there is some contingency that may be available, but I think for now, the best way to approach that one is, let's just try to put things back the best we can. There may be a little parks expense to do that, maybe not, we'll just have to see how all that works out. But then we need to be thinking a little more into the future, but not too far into the future about replacement of that equipment. So, don't need any vote, I just wanted to bring that to you. In these 4 items we're gonna talk about, the Parks Committee has endorsed these projects, so they look at things and then they'll recommend to the commission. And so they recommended that we consider replacing the equipment and everything out there and move forward with the project to do the pipe. So, is there any questions about that? Okay. The next one is, if you flip a few pages down, you'll see the Powell Fields entrance. And I'm gonna say roughly 7-8 years ago, we drew this up, knowing that we need to widen that entrance at some point. And this year, we're gonna be overlaying County Park Road, and so that presents the opportunity to do it. And the drawing, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but that entrance is very tight turning into, and it's almost too tight for 2 cars to pass right at the entrance. And so while we're overlaying County Park Road, we'll just pick that up at the same time. We'll have to replace the pipe underneath the approach, and then there's a gate right now that Powell uses, but it's open most of the time. We'll communicate with them on what they want to do with that, put it back, or we suggest actually moving it down to where their lease area starts, which is at the first baseball field, and reconfigure a little bit of that. So we'll work with them on that, but there will be a little bit of expense to parks for this, to do some of the widening. Should be pretty minimal, but just wanted to let you know that and see if you had any comments or questions about it. Okay. The next item, and I would like an action on this, so, and this will get into a conversation on where to take the money from, but we have been paying attention to the asphalt trail that goes around the lake, and it's getting to the point that we need to do a seal coat on it. The last one was done maybe 10 years ago or so, and I know the trail, the original asphalt's been there about 25, 30 years. It's been a while. So rather than have to do an overlay, we've been doing these preventative seal coats, and it's time to do that. Matt got an estimate from the company that did a lot of the parking lot work and has done some work for us in the past, and to do that, it's $4,590. And this would be, in our opinion, a capital improvement. And again, we've expended out all of the funds of the allotment in the current sales tax for parks. And so if the commission is willing to, we would request that money be taken out of contingency to pay for the seal coat. It would be preferable to do it now rather than wait till the next sales tax period. That would be 2 years down the road. So, and this will cover the entirety of the asphalt trail, which picks up that there's concrete. Well, the part that we redid with the parking lot, that's concrete, and then the part that runs along the dam's concrete, but the rest of it's asphalt. So,
That seems really cheap. Inexpensive.
yeah, I mean, it's for what we get out of it, it'll buy us a lot of time, and so I think that's pretty good use of those funds.
And this company we used here at the courthouse annex when we sealed this parking lot, we did the health department with them. I actually contacted him last fall to get an estimate, and then when I contacted him a couple weeks ago, he actually left the price the same. So he said he enjoyed working with us, and he'd like to continue doing work for us. So
It'll also crack fill
Yeah,
everything
they'll
too.
crack fill what they need to, and then they'll seal everything up, so.
I do have a proposal that if the commission's willing to move forward with it, signing the acceptance of the proposal. And again, we would request this come out of the 806 sales tax for capital improvements.
Gonna get 25 years out of this one, too.
Probably not, but hopefully at least 10.
I don't know, I just see this as part of the parks budget, and I know it's not a very big budget. So I'm trying to justify doing this out of 806.
We do have maintenance funds in the parks budget. I want to say it's $10,000. So if there's concern, we could go ahead and just take it out of the maintenance line item. And then if we run up against the, the end of the year and we're short, maybe we'd have to transfer some money into that.
But you wanna do it this year to
Yeah.
get it sealed up and stuff, so it doesn't get another winter on it.
Preventative maintenance used to be either a GR or a 211 expense, road and bridge 211 expense, but as time has gone on, those budgets can't support preventative maintenance on our roadways, and so that's become a capital improvement, which it's questionable whether that's capital improvement or just maintenance, but that's how it's evolved.
So I'm okay going forward with this today, let's do something on it to keep it from deteriorating and being a bigger project. But it's a fitness trail, so are there grants or something we can go out there, same with the playground equipment you were talking about. And maybe I'm not gonna put this on them as much as even us, we need to look at going after some of that money that's out there and getting some of those things. I don't necessarily wanna hire somebody to write grants, but if there's a way we can, if somebody finds a grant and they do the administration of it, then they make that's where they make their money. Put it out there if they have something that we can use. I just think there's some stuff we're losing out on, and I know you guys got plenty of other stuff to do than just sitting there filling out the applications and then administering the grants themselves.
Well, we could look, at grant money's gonna dry up, it is drying up, so.
We do have a few paths there, and this will be more of the next conversation, item number 4, but the Land and Water Conservation Fund, that's funded a lot of park improvements, and I think the last one was Brooks Park that we used to do the playground out there. And I know there's I think it's called a Recreational Trails Program, RTP maybe, through DNR. So there's different programs like that. I think most of the time it's for building new. This Land and Water Conservation Fund, it does talk about rehabilitation and restoration. I think if we're gonna get a grant for this trail, to do the trail, it would be replacing it with concrete. That's probably where you get a grant for, maybe not so much just preventative maintenance.
I think today's newspaper has a picture of the city working on an extension of a trail on South Country Club.
Yes.
And did it come through TAP money?
That's the TAP, yes.
TAP.
Can you use TAP on a park, or does it have to be along a roadway?
Can we do that outside this conversation?
Okay, sure. But yeah, that's, those things are out there too, but I think they're more along the roadway.
They may be, because it's almost transportation money that they've shifted over to
Yeah.
recreation/pedestrians, right?
Well, and TAP is your Transportation Alternative Program. So it does go towards your sidewalks, your greenways, alternative modes of transportation.
Okay. May not fit here.
And I'm not talking about just government grants and stuff. I mean, there are other foundations and stuff out there that will give stuff towards fitness or youth programs, and, we may have to do some things to encourage more youth out there, and count how many actually use it, but it's just an idea, and this wasn't a huge amount, but every little bit adds up.
Yes.
So, trying to throw that out there, because we're gonna start seeing the cost of things go up, and this morning was one of them, and we're we're still okay. We had budgeted more than that. So that was our saving grace there.
Well, and the one nice thing about a seal coat like this, because it is preventive maintenance, it will extend the life of what we got existing so that we can plan a little better, start looking at more grants if we do want to replace it with
By 5
concrete.
years out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the way I look at
The way it is,
it.
and we get 2 years, then it becomes a problem if we don't mitigate it now.
Right,
More issues arise.
right.
So, just throwing it out there, just right now.
Yeah, check and
Will
see if you.
806 work for that, Debbie, then, since it's,
If it increases the value for at least 5 years, it can still be, that's what the state offers.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that it'll get us 5 years. I mean, the thing about that, as long as you keep the surface, you know, from getting water in it, you can usually extend life of asphalt pretty good. Doesn't have any weight on it really, just.
Right.
Yeah. So I do have this proposal here from them, and if,
that's the decision, seal coat.
I'll make a motion to sign the services agreement with Precision Seal Coating Services for $4,590.
Yeah, 4590. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
okay, and the last item on, that we discussed at the Parks meeting last week, and Harry knows from, you know, being on the Parks Committee that we've talked about this for some time now. But looking a little more immediate future, we're looking to do a new playground and restroom out at County Park. And as we start looking at this and start laying out where it might go, the drawing is where we've kind of zeroed in on with the Parks Committee. Playground would be kind of centered between the pavilion, or bordered between the pavilion, the new parking lot, and then ultimately down at the lake. And we would also want to put a bathroom up here. The bathroom right now, being down the hill from the pavilion, is it's inconvenient and it's old. And so a new bathroom would be a good thing to do in conjunction with a new playground. So this would have to be a grant type project. And I had mentioned that Land and Water Conservation Fund, that is through, I guess it's through DNR, the Parks Department and DNR. And it's actually a federal Department of Interior National Park Service grant. They oversee the whole program. But there's different things, and it can be for, primarily for development or construction of new outdoor recreational amenities. And this would apply, the last one we did was Brooks Park, when we got the playground there. It's a 50-50 match, and our 50% can also be in-kind services and donated items. So the thing about this, though, as we start to lay this out, part of the ranking formula that they use is how well the applications fit together. And to come up with a budget number for this, we feel that we're gonna have to do a little design work to figure out what's gonna fit on that hillside. It would be a couple different tiers of playground surface. It has to be flat, obviously. I mean, there can be a little grade to it, but most of the playground area has to be flat. So we would want to hire a company, whether, I don't know who exactly does that other than a landscape architect. It's probably the main type of company that would do like a playground design. So we would start looking at that. The cycle for these grants is they come open in August of every year. And I think it's every year, maybe every other, but, and then they're due in November. So we don't really think we're in a position to do that this year. We're gonna have to wait till the following year. So put it on your radar. We're gonna want to do some design work ahead of time to have an estimate and a schematic of what might be able to fit there. And then also tie in that bathroom. Now, the bathroom, Matt has some experience using those on conservation properties in his previous employment, and they're basically, they come pre-built or whatever, and then you just set them on the pad with the plumbing and everything there, so.
OA does have a contract for privies / bathrooms that we could pull off of, so.
So we can fit that one in pretty much on our own. I don't know that we need anybody to design that necessarily, but the playground's gonna get a little more complex. Not just because it's on a hill, just because to get a good budget number, we would feel more comfortable with that. And then ultimately, we'll have to hire somebody to do it anyway, so.
So it'll be 2026 before.
Probably want to apply in 2026, knowing that we would use the new sales tax, assuming it's passed, use those funds to pay for that. So,
Makes sense. You know, it's very inconvenient now and maybe ADA non-compliant where we have the facilities down the hill and up the hill is the pavilion and pretty well inconvenient, and it needs to be up there. Does it replace or add to the existing?
I think we just leave the current bathroom there. We'll
Leave it
just,
there.
yeah, now the playground where it's at, it's back in the corner, away from the parking lot a little ways. It's not ADA, it's just got the bark mulch in there, and there's no swings that are ADA really, so it's dated. I think the equipment there was hand-me-downs from something years ago, so it's
That,
time.
Playground area is gonna be a challenge for that landscape engineer person, I think, because of the grade elevation change.
Yeah.
See
And
what
it
happens.
may turn out that they say you really don't want to put it here, put it where the current one is. But those kinds of questions, I think, would be better answered by a professional than us. Not that we're not professionals, but not in this arena, so. Any questions about that anymore? Any comments?
That might be something for the 250th anniversary committee to be a part of too. Depending on how much money we have, but put some money into it as part of our 250th birthday.
Right.
For Cole County, since it is a Cole County committee, so I might suggest that to our committee.
One item, a good segue into what I did want to mention in closing is the Parks Committee, we have discussed forming a foundation, a Parks Foundation. Jefferson City has one with their parks, and it's an avenue to take donations to put towards projects like this. And we've done some initial investigation. There's a little bit of legal work that needs to be done in advance, and then filing of some paperwork with the IRS, I believe. Larry, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So we can talk to some attorneys and we can get the legal work donated. So shouldn't be a big deal. We just need to maybe have a meeting at some point to determine what that might look like exactly.
Even though the legal work might be donated, the IRS makes you pay
Yeah.
just to file.
Just to file.
It says $600 and change, last I looked.
Okay.
To file the application for recognition of exemption. So, unless the attorney is really charitable.
Yeah. So I know there's been some talk on the committee about, doing some fundraisers and, ways to start raising some money to, and I think, as we start looking at these improvements, I think, a foundation's gonna wanna look at, things like adding playground facilities, that kind of thing, and maybe not so much the trail maintenance, but other things that add to the whole parks, itself. So it's a good opportunity to maybe get a little more, not recognition, but, get it out there that, hey, we do have a park system in the county. It's small, but it's very nice, and we're making improvements, and there's people out there that like to donate to those types of things, and it's a good way to bring in some funds that maybe we're not capturing that are out there.
Yeah, that proposed playground there, that's a significant size.
Yes.
And then doing that bathroom up there too. I don't know, I was just looking at some of the different grants. There's some through Missouri State Parks, Recreational Trails Program, Land and Water Conservation Fund grants. I know that's gonna be a headache probably dealing with them and having to jump through the hoops to get it, but for a park that big, we might have to do something like that.
Yeah, I think the only way we do this is a grant, so, but figuring out who does what, I mean, the last one we did it in-house, it can be very cumbersome managing those, so, like Jeff, I think you mentioned earlier, that if you had somebody that, would we've just hired on an hourly basis to help write it and then help make sure we're meeting all benchmarks for reporting and everything. That would be helpful.
Yes, a lot of park.
Yeah, it's highly utilized, especially with the new parking lot and everything out there. It gets a lot of use. So, any further questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Final approval of purchase of airband radios for EMS.
So, this is pretty informal, but we need to purchase a few airband radios, which will allow us to communicate directly with the air traffic control tower at the airport. We've had a couple incidents where we've needed to respond onto the airport, and we don't have any way to get clearance or permission to do so. This was included in my capital budget. But basically, they're being bought off a vendor online. I know Debbie's gonna love this, but we'll need to use a P card. I don't have a quote or anything, but since it is coming out of capital, I just wanted to get approval. The cost is $1,145.
So are we allowed to go over to the airport?
Yeah, so we have an auto aid agreement with Callaway County. If the call originates within the jurisdiction of the Jeff City Fire Department, we will respond. And basically, whoever gets there first will start rendering aid, and we'll work it out from there.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I know at one time you were not,
Yeah, that's-
not able to go into Callaway.
Yeah, that's been rectified.
Give me an example of, when you couldn't make this contact. What was the occasion?
Yeah, so there was a helicopter that had a hard landing off the end of the runway about a year ago now. The fire department has these radios in their command vehicle, so they were able to proceed out there. And then we had to communicate with the fire department to get permission. So basically, we were relying on the fire department to be the link in the communication chain. So it would just be nice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
So, do we have a?
I don't have a quote.
Okay.
Yeah, we're buying from a vendor offline, but I just wanted to bring it since it's coming out of capital, so you guys could say you're aware.
Okay.
Go forward.
Go forward.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else to come before us? I will entertain a motion to stand in recess until 2 p.m.
I'll make that motion that the commission stand in recess until the 2 p.m. meeting to discuss the senior tax freeze discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Here you are, man. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're back in session. We're gonna forego everything we did all this morning, so our topic is the Cole County Senior Real Estate Property Tax Freeze Program. And we have hopefully the final application, correct?
Hopefully. That's the key word there, hopefully.
Okay,
We'll know about an hour after this meeting's over.
I'm not in charge of.
That's all the time you got.
I have a few things to show.
I think Larry's the spokesman, our illustrious collector.
Well, I have the draft website that I can show at some point, and I also have the web form that I can run through how it's gonna work. I've just got a draft of that also.
Okay, just want to make sure everybody does have a copy of the last application and the proposed flow chart for work. that Melissa put together for us. She cleaned up the application mainly because when I copy and paste, and certain stuff stays in the background that I wasn't aware of anyway. So she cleaned all that up, and I'm very thankful for that. We made some changes that Judy suggested, again. Not to point that out or anything, but.
Thank you.
And they were good changes, so that's what
Thank
hurts
you.
me. That,
That's what hurts me.
But we shortened the proof of ownership, took off of it some of the information we had about for the attorney factor, personal representative, and added that to the back. I think it now says property tax free, senior real estate property tax frees everywhere now. That's been corrected. And so I'm good with reviewing what you've done for the website and.
Okay. You wanna do the website first or the web form first? You can.
Either is,
Okay.
Can I say something? Not to add salt to the wound, but our, Boone County, they're only taking it till June of 25 and not leaving it all the way open till 26. Do y'all are good with that?
Different.
they're
Started
freezing,
24.
yeah.
This is their second year.
Oh, this is their second, oh, no wonder, okay.
So
It
that's
just seems
why
like
we
having it
changed
open
ours.
it so long, it just seems like weird.
And those that want to apply for a freeze in 26, the next age go-around would actually have till 27 to apply.
And we can maybe shorten it to a couple months or
Yes,
something?
yes.
Okay. Sorry.
And change the application process. That's something we haven't talked about yet, but we can talk about that a little as we get into the meeting.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the draft copy of the website that I've got put up, so I'm happy to hear any suggestions or comments. I start out with just kind of how we got to this point with the tax freeze and put the Missouri statute on there. I'm not sure if we want to somewhere put the commission's, I don't know if you did an ordinance or how that came about. I don't know if I kind of put this about Cole County tax freeze in case we need to put a link to that or document or whatever there. But I don't think that's, I think the state tax, the revised statute is probably more important than that one. I don't know. That's just up for discussion. I created a couple of buttons for when we have the applications ready. I do have the latest application on here, so they can just click here and get that pulled up. I don't have that connected to anything. They apply online. I've just got basic information on this front page. And I can take screenshots of this stuff and email it out if you guys want at a later time. But basically, it's the basic information that is on the website with kind of some contact information. Here, where the proof of ownership, I have this, you will need your parcel identification number, and I also have here, I'll open this in a new tab, but just a picture of where to find that on your tax bill. And I can add more of that kind of stuff if we feel like we need it. Then I also have a link here. This goes to Larry's tax search. So actually, I probably need to have it to go
Straight to that
here,
web page.
yeah. So I can change that. But let's see. The other things that I have on this right-hand side is the new email address that we have for the senior tax freeze. I have a blurb here about the in-person assistance is going to be starting. I don't have a date here, but the times are going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 to 3. location. I may put a little map link there in case somebody doesn't know where it is, but, got drop-off location here. I'm not sure if there are gonna be other offices that are gonna have drop boxes, or if it's just gonna be the collector. It's probably good to just have one location to prevent confusion and lessen the chance that something's gonna happen to that box. And then I just put applications and supporting documents must be in sealed envelope with the property owner name on the front. I don't know if we need more information on that envelope than just the owner name, maybe parcel number or phone number or something, I don't know. But I don't know how you guys usually do those Dropbox things. Then I put the application link thing here, but then I added it here so I can delete it from down there. And then I just put links to, again, the collector's tax search, and then Midmo GIS in case somebody needs to go out there and look up their parcel, or maybe they have multiple parcels, they need to find out which one is the one that they want to claim. And then I have the FAQs page. So people can go here and look at more information if they didn't find what they need on that first page. And this should be the latest and greatest. And I'll probably actually put a copy of a downloadable PDF somewhere too, in case somebody wants to print that out. I think that would be good to have. So that's what I've got. I'm trying to keep it simple and clear. Most people don't want to read a bunch of text when they're on a website, so like I said, I can make a copy of what I've got there, and if anybody wants to give me their suggestions, I'm happy to make changes as needed. Anybody have any?
I think we do need to send a copy to everybody so that whoever's working and taking applications knows for sure what they're supposed to be looking at from.
The FAQs, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking if we put a copy of the FAQs on the, and the other thing I was thinking, we might want to think about creating an info sheet so that like people, if they come in, we can hand them a sheet that has maybe a web address and a QR code so that they know where to go to and have that basic information about like the requirements and the documentation they're gonna need, that they have that paper in their hand. Maybe like
That would be good for them to take home too, right?
yeah, a half sheet or a full sheet, like info sheet.
Because they may have questions once they do get home.
And those can go to the different, like the assessor's office maybe could have a few of them, and quarters office, the offices that would primarily deal with those customers. So I kind of started working on that, but I haven't gotten very far yet. So that's it for that.
Looks good.
Looks very good. All right. Oh, okay. So, I got logged out. This is.
Administrator. Have I been approved of that yet, Brian?
We took a vote, sir. I had one in favor and everyone else against.
And we're Was he the one that was in favor?
Oh, no, I voted against it too. Brian voted for it.
Did you get the accounts payable?
You had 3 of them, right?
Yeah, you do it, finish?
Yeah, they were in red, so I wasn't gonna approve them.
Well, Debbie and I
We
can't
don't know
figure out
yet.
why they're showing red, because they're not. but,
We did the transfer.
Yes, they're done.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, so this is the draft copy of the web form. So this is the first page that you get to, and I might have too much information on here, but I don't want people to have to go back and forth if they didn't read the web page. So basically telling them they need to have everything ready, because when they digitally sign it and review the document, they'll be asked to attach those documents. So. Again, so I'm just gonna fill in some fake information. Just pretend that I'm typing in stuff that is actually real. And it just categories, the same categories that are on the application, basically. And actually, this is what this is based on, an uploaded version of this.
Application.
Yeah. So I do have to put the right one. So then you review
It's fast.
your information. And I may do some rules on some of these that, like, I kind of ran through the applicant age, residence. If they say no, no, they're not 62, I probably need to have a rule that says, I'm sorry, you're not eligible or something,
Right.
so that they
Yeah.
don't keep going.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do that, but like I said, this is the second form I've done, so. Okay, so once that is all filled out, you do next, and it says, we've received your form. And then it should pull up the sign. Wait a minute. Okay, what did I do here? I did a demo with the DocuSign people this morning, so let me see what I did. Should have the signature page come up, and it should be a copy of the form.
So it will automatically pop up?
Yeah. Well, I'll show you what it'll look like. I don't know why it's not showing up. I may have to get back with them. But let's see, templates. And then this is the template. And if I go to edit. No, that's not, yeah. Next. Okay, so, basically, what I just went through and filled out, that will all in that thing that I was expecting to pop up, will all be filled out here now. And then they'll be able to attach the documents that they need to attach for each of these items. And then also sign. And I do have one question about the signing. So if somebody is going to be signing as the attorney in fact or personal representative for the applicant, do we need 2 separate signature lines? Because the applicant wouldn't be signing, so I would think you would just need the one signature for that. Does that make sense?
It's either on the top line or the second line, whichever one.
Well, the way our deeds are, it has the person signing it, and then it has who they're signing for. So it does have both signatures.
Okay, so the person that's doing it for the applicant could,
And then
in
it's
theory,
for-
do both
Uh-huh.
electronically. Okay. I'll just go ahead and leave them both then, and then they have a space that they can attach that.
Then you know who they're applying for.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so once those are all signed and the documents are attached, then you'll submit it, and it will package all of the documents together and upload it, and then that's where we're kind of, once this is all done and we've got everything figured out, we'll work with Therefore on how to get that stuff pushed down and into Therefore. So, but that's how that's gonna work. And this is what it'll look like when the customer finishes filling it out. They'll get this popped up with everything populated, and then they'll just attach the documents and sign.
Looks pretty user-friendly.
I think it, yeah, it seems to be, I just have to find out why that didn't pop up, because it popped up earlier when we did it, and so, like I said, I'm brand new to this, I've not done a form like this before, so I gotta find out why it didn't pop up. It's probably something I left off the form when I did it again.
What if you hit the back row instead of back? Will it lose all the information you put in
No,
there?
as long as you stay in your browser and you don't clear your cache, it saves your progress.
Okay.
So that's a
So
good
the things
thing.
before, so just do not hit your
Yeah,
back.
no,
button.
no,
Do
that's,
do
I
certain
did
things.
ask them that.
They tried to dummy proof it for us.
Yeah, so as long as you're using the same computer, same browser and everything, it's saving it in your cache, and so it should, just don't clear your cache while you're doing the form.
Can't do what I don't know.
Most people
So
don't
let
know.
me ask though, as far as saving that functionality, if I am populating the sections, does it automatically save or do I have to click?
As you're going through that first part that I showed
Maybe I
you,
missed
the ask, when I
Okay,
went
so
through
I
that
gotta
part.
manually click.
So, on that web form that I just went
Yes,
through.
okay.
As you're going through each step, it's saving that page. So you're 0% complete, and then it'll go up percentage of how
Right.
much percent
Okay.
complete it is. And you can go back if you think you did something wrong and you need to fix it. Like I said, as long as you're in that browser and you haven't cleared your cache or anything, you should be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You
like
shouldn't
Ralph
have to
may be
redo it.
filling out more than one of those, so does that say that as separate ones for him, is there gonna be a different way to access that? for
I
him?
think in that case, he might wanna finish it, cause you wouldn't want to get people's
Right.
mixed up, yeah.
Yeah, all I did was fill one out manually, just
Yeah.
get the feel for what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But as far as attachments, so my driver's license and my wife's should suffice for 2 of the 3 proofs of document.
You only need one
One,
proof
yes.
of identity. Okay, you're meaning for each one of those.
Yeah, because
You
my
can-
wife's name is
Yeah.
on there.
But if you want to provide 3, I'll be glad to take credit card information.
No. Now you
there
sound
is-
like my clients.
There is a limit of 5 document attachments though, so, but we have like 5 attachment fields, so that should work out
But my
fine.
driver's license is good for these two.
Yeah, so
And
that
all I
would be
have to
one.
do is attach
Yeah,
my little thing from the envelope that Larry gives me.
your tax bill, yeah, or your tax receipt,
Larry's present.
yeah. And then like on that back page, if somebody's signing for somebody else, they would need their personal representative or power of attorney or whatever documentation. And then the only other thing is that, that ownership type, if it's other entity, they have to attach the trust agreement or operating agreement, so. But that's where I'm at. I guess I've still gotta work out why that didn't.
You'll figure it out.
Mark, do you need to run? We can talk about changing the schedule, so you don't have to stay if you don't want to.
I'll stay. I do have maybe a stupid question. Do you have to be 62?
Before January 1st.
Okay, but this process is gonna go on till next year.
But
Will that change?
2025
Yeah.
is the qualifying year, so you have to be 62 before January 1st of
Oh, even
2025.
if you apply for it next year, too?
Well, no, if you apply, the 25 is gonna affect your 26 taxes.
Right.
If you turn 62 after January 1 of 25, then you can apply for the 26 freeze that won't affect until your 27 taxes.
Okay. But in reality, there's gonna be no freeze until 27, because next year's not a reassessment year. Your assessment won't go up next year. for
It
Pretty much
could.
anybody. Yeah, okay, all right.
We can make sure that happens for you.
But I guess when you
talking
start
about
if this process is gonna continue into next year, correct, then you.
Everybody has to
Then you
reapply,
change.
as far as I know from every collector I've talked to, they reapply every year.
But if we have them fill it out, say I come in May 1st and fill it out, turn it in, do I need to reapply then next year? Even though I've.
Yes.
But a renewal shouldn't be as involved as the
Right.
original.
We haven't
So I
talked
will
about
have
that.
to- Cause we're gonna get a lot of people coming in as soon as we announce that the application's available. So they'll fill it out this year, they're gonna have to come back again next year before June
Several
30th and
first
fill
class,
it out again.
sorry to interrupt you, but several first-class counties are just mailing out a card that all they have to do is check off if any information has changed, if there's been any improvements, and sign and return that card, and that automatically renews them for the next year. They don't even have to come in.
Yeah, I would think next year.
Boone
once they
County's doing that.
Renew it should be
Greene County's
easier.
doing that.
Okay.
And Greene is a huge county, so.
Okay, well then I'll lighten your load and I won't apply for it till next year, because my taxes shouldn't go up.
We were trying to figure that out, if there's any instance where it does.
Right.
I think the only way they can go up is with new construction, and new construction's not exempt.
Put a freeze
whatever.
anyway, right?
Unless this problem with the state tax commission and all this, that all these counties are having changes the world,
Who knows what
Yeah.
they're gonna do,
yeah.
Is the microphone up? There you go.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's something.
In theory, you're right, but I would, anybody ask me, I'm gonna say, you need to apply as soon as you qualify.
And then next year you'll just have to fill out the card, if we did it that
Yeah.
way.
all right.
I think it's a great idea.
I like that.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
And DevNet's supposed to have some more,
Features
functionality next year for some of this stuff to make it smoother.
And I told you there wouldn't be any more changes to the application, but I lied to you. Gretchen and I, we used, Ralph submitted his application, and Gretchen and I used that for training this morning with DevNet on their system. The only thing I would change on our application is what we're using for checkoff on the bottom now.
Well, that's a good thing, comment, because, that's gonna come back to the flow chart, and how are we going to, if we have documents scanned into, therefore, are we gonna really be able to, is it gonna be feasible to use that? Are we gonna print everything out and do a lot of paper and check that off, or are we gonna do it electronically so that we don't have to like print stuff out? And
Well, I don't
Brian
know,
and I
that's,
talked about that.
I think that depends on what functionality you all give us. I know that Brian and I have talked about the therefore software workflow and,
Wizard.
yeah, and I'll let you explain that. But I've offered to pay for that out of my tax maintenance fund, which would actually should allow us to complete them completely on the computer, online, or
And
not
then
online,
we
but
wouldn't
on
really,
the
that
system. We
wouldn't
wouldn't,
be applicable
we
for
wouldn't
even any
need
of that
the
office.
paper application. But DevNet, in their process, they have credit detail, reasons why you would get the credit, and they also have denied reasons. And those may be what we want to put on the back here. They're very similar, but there's just more of them. And when we go to entering the information in, once we get the application in our office, I mean, it's these questions that we have to answer yes or no to, and then approve or disapprove the application, and then they automatically, I've got 2 sample letters here, one of the approval and one of the denied. They're making some corrections to that for us, gonna put our county watermark in the background of those, but we can choose the denied reason. It'll say why it's denied in the letter that goes out, or the approval just says it's approved. But there's a list of them, it's pretty, and then it also has an audit trail. Every entry I made this morning I didn't make them, Jackie made them. Co-applicant's name change, when we added co-applicants, gives you the date, complete, status applicant, name change, added credit to property. So it's, just as an audit trail on the stuff that you all are doing, DevNet creates it in their system. And then we just have to choose the base tax year. Actually, when we put Ralph's name in, it pulled in all his, we went to his account, went in here and said, add senior tax credit, and it pulled in all his information on this page, his name, and actually both his and his wife's name. We changed that all in as applicant. We had to change it, make her the co-applicant. And we really only need one applicant on these, so you wouldn't have, taxpayers aren't gonna have to submit both the husband and the wife in order to qualify. Only one of them has to qualify. So those are probably, I'll send you those and you can look at it and tell me what you think.
So is it pulling in the ownership as the assessor's office has it? Is that
Yes.
what it's
As it
doing?
is on that.
Yeah, okay.
The thing that we have to check, the main thing that we check on the application is that the parcel number the taxpayer put on here is the same parcel number that we're pulling up in DevNet, to make sure it's the same person, so. And I don't know if you wanna address what therefore Wizard should be able to do, or.
So, what we kind of worked out, or what we started talking about, was how to best automate this and put a system of checks in place that on required fields. So Melissa and I got together and we created this flow chart as far as how things are going to happen at a higher level. As far as like the public experience, whether they do the walk-in or whether they do the online application. But the Wizard is going to follow pretty much what Melissa designed through the online experience. So like if you have a customer that comes in, then it'll walk whomever through the process as far as, what things they need to fill out, the order they need to fill them out, and then what documents they need to have attached. So in order to do that, we had to basically buy a higher level of the product in the licensing. And so I talked to Larry about it. And so we've gotten tentative pricing on that without the professional services, but I should have that once Melissa and I finish exactly what we're looking at in the way of the details on that workflow process, so.
Thanks to Mark, you have an extra week now.
Thank you.
Should be 3 weeks, but Larry wouldn't give. weeks, so.
In the unlikely event that you have a 62-year-old with a 59-year-old spouse, and he fills it out, I'm saying he's the 62-year-old, and a year later he dies, she's still not 62. Is there a way to catch that one so it doesn't slip through?
Well, if they have to reapply, you should be able to catch it then.
Cause it'll ask if
When do they reapply?
that, yeah.
Every
Every
year.
year.
What if he dies after they reapply?
I would think it would catch it the next year.
Yeah, there's probably
Well,
gonna be an increase.
I think you die December 1, after the tax bills have gone out.
That's kind of a tough question,
Yeah.
because even.
I know it is, that's why I said in the
Even-
likely event.
Well, even people who, they don't always file a death certificate in our office for us to deliver to the assessor. They may not even do that for a year, or until an attorney asks them to, so I'm not sure how that could be caught.
The clerk reads every obituary that he can and drops them off the voter's rolls as quick as he can. So maybe somehow he could loop in here.
I wasn't even sure he was alive.
The clerk's office. let
Oh.
me restate.
So you're saying then, if the clerk reads the obituary and he can loop it in, someone could just research DevNet and see,
Yeah. you
Like
know, well,
something like that?
I think you might put a star around anybody who is, in this, well, I don't know what range of age you want to put, but he does, I asked him one time, what do you do the rest of the year when you don't have an election? He says, oh, we're busy. We are watching obituaries and getting them off the tax rolls. I said, okay. So if that's a source that would already have that data, maybe somehow he gets looped in here for this office.
is it worth saving $6?
I mean, well, is there a date, a specific date that is gonna be on that
Qualified.
renewal form that says,
It's January 1st every year.
so if
I mean, that's the qualifying
has the
year.
is the applicant deceased as of, or what, something like that, would that be something that you would need to add on to the?
They have to do their
Well,
taxes.
I think
they're
one of
gonna-
the
they're gonna
questions
have to
is,
do
are
their
you still
taxes.
the owner of the property
Yeah.
on that card? Obviously, anybody could check that, how I'm sure
But if the co-applicant
something's gonna
is-
slip through.
Yeah, if the co-applicant is under that age and they are still the owner, then that's not gonna, that might be confusing to them.
But you're taxed on the property you own as of January 1. So
Yeah,
if you die later that year,
that's
wouldn't you
for
still
the next
qualify?
year,
And then when you
Yeah.
reapply the next year, it should hopefully
Then,
catch if
yeah.
that person's died.
yeah.
That,
Maybe so.
taxes are fully earned on January 1 of each year.
Yeah.
They're just not due until December 31st.
That's true.
Looking for the guy who goes to New Year's Eve party on December 31st and dies on the way to the party. Getting tax credit the next year.
So the spouse could apply,
Not if
reapply.
not if she's old enough.
I mean, she
might-
can,
it
she
might-
can say everything's the same and sign it fraudulently, and then at that point, that's kind of,
But then if,
that could get her in trouble.
yeah,
Because he's not gonna be able to apply for it, obviously.
She
Then
would
we're
have
not
to
gonna
check
be able
that
to-
she's 62 and older, though,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't be able to check that unless you're saying fraudulent.
If she's
Yeah.
signing it in his name and he passed
Checking it.
away on the, or didn't even make it to their New Year's Eve, so,
I mean, there's certain things that are kind of beyond our control as far
Yeah.
as checking on.
Well, there's a penalty statement
Yeah.
or something on the application, right? So
Well, yeah, the big thing is gonna be, can you catch them?
Yeah. I think we just have to do our due diligence and
clerk's office to be able to give us a list that we can cross-reference?
Yeah.
And then go back and look, and if
I
an
think-
applicant is.
Ask him a list for the list of dropped,
Well, we get our obituaries from, I don't know what you call them, death list, from the Health and Senior Services from the state. It used to be in paper format, but now it's all done electronically through our voter registration. So we get, I think we can run a report and it does a comparison, 100% match or 80%, and then we have to go look at each one to make sure we are deleting the correct person, but there might be something we can get, a list of some sort to cross-reference.
I think you could furnish the group with the list of dropped voters due to death. Wouldn't that catch it? I mean,
We can search by deleted voters. I don't know if we can do a date range though, because we have deleted voters from 10 years ago in our system still.
Okay.
So I don't know if we can put a date range. I'd have to do a search and check.
Would you check that for us, please?
Yeah, I can do that.
So do they have to be current on their tax paid? Because it doesn't really say that. Proof of ownership, it's a copy of the real property tax bill. But you know, I've got all these pretty envelopes I've gotten from Larry over the years. So say I just go in this file and pull out 2020, it's got all this information in it. It's just 2020 and not 2024.
I don't know if it was in the facts, but I did see
It's
somewhere it
on
said
the
taxes must be
certification.
paid.
I believe it's on the certification here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Where is that? No, I saw that.
It said somewhere also.
I saw it somewhere.
Says I am liable for the payment of real property tax on such homestead.
I see that.
I saw somewhere it said taxes must be paid.
I saw it down here in your little gray box where you
No,
go,
it's-
property tax
I
paid
did
just
put it
went up.
here, on the website, I put it on there under requirements, but I don't see it on here.
I would put it on here then just. Well, I mean, I could see
understand.
people coming in with the wrong,
Yeah,
the wrong year, you know. They just grab one, it might be, I think I've got one back to like 2013, you know, I like the color of the envelope best on it, I might bring it in.
yeah.
Well, besides that, I think we're setting, on the laptops, we're setting up, tax inquiry, DevNet's tax inquiry,
Yeah.
which I believe
On that.
whoever's taking the
workstation.
applications can pull up their account and see if
And
it's
so they
paid
would
or
be
not.
denied if they're not current on their tax.
Yes,
So they would get a card or a letter saying you're not eligible.
If we need
unless they
to-
were sitting right here and we saw they weren't paid, we'd tell them, you don't
If we need to
qualify.
add that here, we need to figure out everything else that needs to be added, 'cause like I said, every time this changes, I have to completely redo that form, so let's get it all.
I just know you're
everything,
gonna have
all
some
the
people that are gonna
details.
bring in a tax receipt that isn't necessarily 2024.
I thought so
You can
too.
simply go to your website to see if it's paid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right
Well, that's
there.
what the tax inquiry thing,
But it doesn't say on here specifically that we expect that that's got to be paid, but it is on the website, but people maybe won't look at the website, they'll just look at the tax
Could you add it under D?
application.
Do you like that? If you add it under D, we already have that statement, and then you just add that they're saying that they're currently paid, that they are current, along
I'm
with
liable,
that.
liable and taxes are paid
Yeah.
in full.
Mhm.
I think that would work,
Yeah,
and current taxes are paid in full.
yeah. Yeah, because I think I just pulled this verbiage from, other people's websites that I saw that
Well, I think trying to explain to somebody that their 2020 tax receipt doesn't, but it does give you the information you need.
Was there something else that somebody said that we needed to add to this earlier? I feel like there was somebody mentioned something else. Oh, should we need to put then, we do have on here already that in the case of joint ownership, only one owner need qualify, but do we need to put something like that next to applicant name can be, or if only one property owner is
That seems
of
like a good place
age
to put
or
it.
something as qualifying age, then that person would be listed as applicant. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Like I said, I'd like to make whatever the next one is the final.
Yeah.
So you need that little notation about in the case of joint ownership, only one owner need qualify and apply, qualify/apply, whatever, put up by the applicant's name.
Oh, yeah, that might be good, just to move it up there.
That's a good, yep, I like it.
Yeah. I can help with that if you need, Larry. Since I've got the copy of the latest.
It's better if you do it, because I don't have the knowledge, for one thing. I'm working on PDFs, so.
Okay.
Word document, I can really screw around, but PDF's a little tougher.
That's probably not a bad idea, because when I filled that one out, I thought, okay, it's got my name and Darlene's, so we gotta go through it together and then sign it, or
Yeah.
whatever.
But it really only needs to be one of
Yeah.
the owners.
So one other question. I don't have any clients now who own their own property, but that's not to say I won't in the future if I'm appointed as a new guardian, so I would sign there as
Yeah.
personal representative.
And then you would have to attach whatever documents makes you
Power of
Like-
attorney,
that.
Like my guardianship.
Yeah, your
whatever.
guardianship or
Yeah,
whatever.
Okay, that's what I thought. And with 2025 being the base year, nobody can really fill this out until they get their taxes for this year, right?
No, it's not gonna, doesn't have, we want them filled out before they get their
Okay.
taxes, really.
Well, then we're looking at April, by the end of April, right? Or-
No, we're gonna still take them up till June 30th of next year, but it's
Well-
nice if we get them, as many of them done now as we
Yeah.
can.
So do I
It's
need,
not gonna affect their 2025 tax
Right.
bill at all.
do I need to redo mine?
No, for what reason?
Next year.
Take your wife's name off?
No, next,
No, but I noticed I failed to check off a box. The very first one, I was trying to copy and paste.
You're gonna get a denial letter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't mind redoing it. Didn't take me that long. Did you
Yeah,
not
so
notice?
if somebody does
No,
that.
I noticed it, but we just filled in the,
Oh, okay.
If somebody does that and has a checkbox that they didn't check, and we catch that and we say, okay, this is flag, this person didn't mark this box, are we gonna make them completely re-apply, or are we gonna call them and say, you didn't fill this you didn't check this box, so we don't know what, are we just gonna take their answer over the phone and say, okay, we spoke to them on the phone and they verified that this box should have been checked, or how are we gonna handle that?
I'm thinking we're gonna ask them to provide documentation.
So they would have to check
They
that
wouldn't have
box.
to do a whole new application, but they would have to provide documentation for that answer.
So that kind of goes to my question the last week, that it would suspend it, it wouldn't kill it.
Right.
It would just suspend it and they could go back in and add that documentation.
This denial letter says, please contact the collector's office if you have any questions about the determination or to discuss any possibility of becoming eligible for this program in the future.
So it would kick it.
So if somebody-
They have to follow up.
They'd have to follow up.
So
provide
if
the-
somebody checked, like, have any improvements or additions been made to the property, if they didn't, forgot to check anything on that line, how would they document that to get that checked? Would they just send this sheet again and with that checked to you, or, I'm just talking through it, sorry.
Because they can't go back and edit.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
'Cause-
can't prove that they didn't.
I think
Yeah.
you have to reapply. I wouldn't be a fan of checking it for them or approving it over phone.
I would just hate to have somebody like have to totally redo the entire application because they forgot one line, but
Yeah,
I
it'd
don't
be nice
know
if they could
that.
just edit. If you
Yeah.
approve it over phone, then you're gonna get, and we've learned just in ours, and maybe it's totally separate, that we can't, like, they'll forget sometimes just to put a check mark. We
Mhm.
can't even do that. We've talked to attorneys, and they're like, no, you can't practice law. You have to reject that whole document. They have to fix it and resubmit it, and we have them initial it.
Well, this, go ahead, sorry.
No, so it'd be nice if they could just edit, but you're saying that's
Or if
not
they could come to
possible.
the office and like get a copy and mark it and then
Add the
initial it or
documentation, yes.
something. Maybe something like that. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
talk through the
See the
process.
collector, here's his home address. No.
Come on
So
over.
the one online, will it have like a, if like a box isn't checked, will it have a pop-up? that says-
Those are all required. Every field is required except for the phone number 2 because not everybody has a
So
second
it'll pop
phone.
up and remind you,
Yeah,
like,
so it won't let you go further unless you have that finished,
And so in other words, if I did mine online and I missed that very first box, something would pop up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Did you get a pop-up when you were
I'm gonna leave, as long as you
testing and
promise
doing
me
yours?
you're not gonna.
No, but
get the
I
auditors out here
no,
the
I
week of
just did
April
it
16th,
manually.
like you agreed to.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the difference between doing
Sure,
a
Mark.
manual and.
Whatever you say.
Trust us, Mark.
Okay.
If a person, I don't know if this is the same as what Sam was saying, if that person applied now, they shouldn't have to apply next January, right? Because it's good till June 30th, right?
No, not for the 25 base year.
Right, so if they apply this year, they don't have to actually apply
Anytime
again.
applied between now and June 30th is how I understand it.
So that's, we'll run the times from like April 23rd through June 30th of 2026? Just run it the whole time? or
No,
we're gonna,
no, no.
Close it?
Hell no.
Okay, so we're gonna close it this year, June 30th. And then we'll open it again next year, April,
I don't know,
June?
I haven't worked that out, thought through that yet. I think some of that will depend on how many applications we get in this, say, first 3-month run we do. Then it may be where we set it up where we only have a few people coming up here to sit and wait or something.
So if we get like 4,500 this year, we can send out a card to those, as you were talking about, for next year?
Well, for the renewal, yes.
Yes, for the renewal, yeah. Yeah, so we wouldn't have 4,500 up there again.
No.
Okay.
And I'm planning on replacing this current roadwork, box here. This is kind of a current, stuff. I'm planning on replacing this with the senior tax freeze link so that it's visible on the website, on the homepage.
That looked like a picture of Callaway County, by the way. At first.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't, is that across the Osage?
I don't know where Clark Hill is.
This one,
That
that's,
Norton
that
State.
is probably looking
That is
across the
California.
river
But
toward, yeah, that's
taken,
taken from Cole County, looking across the river.
So you could be partially right, yeah.
Well, Dawn, go over on the other side of the river and take a picture, this facing this way.
Well, okay.
Well, we need more pictures, so if anybody wants to submit something.
Melissa, on the website, is there like something like where you would have the senior tax freeze or credit, whatever, something that can kind of blink or something that would draw seniors'
That's
attention to
not,
that for a little?
yeah, that's not really good website design to do the blinky things anymore, because they're not always, they don't get read well by all browsers and different, like, we better think about handicapped accessibility, or disabilities and
ADA
people with disability, ADA compliance, so a lot of that kind of stuff,
But we tell them in the
Prevent
press
some of
that they can
that.
go to our website,
Yeah.
pull it up. They're gonna be looking for it when they go to our.
and they can
website.
find it, they'll be able to find it here
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
where that is, or how do I, and apply for, and it will be on that, how do I apply for the senior tax freeze, so.
You've done a good job on that, Melissa.
Huh?
You've done a good job on that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, very good.
So, yeah, so there's a few little things still to work through, but, I'll get that ironed out.
We were talking about starting in the middle of April. Mark forgot that he has the auditors coming the middle of April and forgot to book this room, which he needs. So we're gonna push back another week. He's gonna have the first week here with them, the auditors in this room. Then we'll come the next week. The second week, the auditors come back. They're gonna just meet with him over at his office, so.
Sam mentioned having signs made.
Really good signs.
So I need to kind of know what that looks like, what kind of signs and like what they need to have on them, and like, are we just talking a senior tax freeze with
Apply for
arrow?
senior,
arrow,
yeah,
so if they
apply
put
for
it by
senior
the
tax
elevator,
freeze.
Second
And
floor.
put second floor, and then when they come up off the elevator, second floor, we need signs there directing them into the store.
Like on a stand type sign?
There is a stand on that, the one that they use
Yeah,
for.
people
for
don't read
voting.
it, though.
But I mean, but if we make a bigger sign with bigger printing, maybe do a reverse,
Make it
do
blink.
a black, you know.
Somebody wants a blinking sign, call out here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, make the sign big enough and with big enough letters that they're gonna see it.
You can have it hit them in the head on the way
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
I don't think they're gonna look at it.
Or would you put
They-
commission chambers, room 200, to tell them
We
which
can
room?
put it on that
But-
sign
yeah.
that's sitting down there, we can just print out on a piece of paper and put it on there.
And a lot of, they won't even look at, they'll come right to our office and ask where they need to go.
The
They
door
come up to
can
our
say,
office
"Oh,
to ask
I'll
where to
still
pay
walk right
taxes
Melissa
at,
runs
you
up
just
good
walk by
signs,
it.
So, I mean, I could like print, some larger ones from my plotter to put like on the glass as you're coming in. But, as the stand ones that we would have to have made, those are the ones I was kind of wanting to know, like,
You mean the whiteboards like down there already?
No, she's talking about when you'd sit on an easel.
Oh,
so,
I
yeah,
believe
would
is
it be
what
on
you're
an
trying to talk
easel,
about.
would it be, I don't know any, I don't buy signs any, so I don't know what kind of signs that we're kind
That
of
sign that's
thinking.
down there now is probably big enough if we make a sign that where senior
She
tax
talking
freeze is
about
in
our
big block letters.
Because there isn't one down there now.
I wanna look at
Well, the
whatever
one that
he's
they've
talking
had
about,
before
that
for
stand that you're
voting,
talking about,
that
and
they
I'll
just
look and see
used
if there's something.
a
I
felt marker to mark it. I mean, I'm, I want something that really smacks them in the face.
I'll try and find something that'll smack in the face. They won't appreciate it very much, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, just directing them,
What are you looking for?
Just have a
directing
stand
them to
stand at the door.
Just smack 'em.
And then when they get off the second
right up
floor,
our alley.
you know, we've got the display cases, you could affix one to the bottom of that with an arrow pointing this way, and then just one on the door, so
Okay.
you got 3 signs.
Yeah.
I nominate Sam to smack him in the face. And then tell them they're not gonna get any relief until 2026.
I wear I got my saber, I'll get my
Get you an
1840 cavalry
ambassador.
saber.
Get you an ambassador's
Yeah,
band.
I got a bunch of army helmets, I'll put on. I got one that's an MP helmet, I'll wear that.
Stand out here in the hall.
The only thing changing on the approval letter or denial letter is I'm taking my name off the denial letter and putting the commission's
Put Jeff on there.
on here.
So
That's fine.
you were asking about who is gonna have the final approval.
Yeah, is it all right if they have all the information to approve them at that point in time when they hand in the information?
Yeah, that would be easy, just
I mean, that would be, to me,
Keep the flow going.
move
keep
it
the
along.
flow going. If they don't have the information, then it needs to be set aside and reviewed and follow whatever process we determine that's gonna be.
Cause the Dropbox ones, we won't be able to
Approve
approve
on
on
the
the spot, yeah.
Just the counter people. Over counter, you would be able to.
Yeah. Cause I think Larry mentioned that there was some county that was, the commissioners wanted to have the final approval.
Yes.
On each
And I,
document.
I don't wanna go through that.
I think that would really slow down the process for a lot.
Jeff said he's gonna do that anyway.
I don't care.
And
I'll do it. All we're gonna do is review and make sure that everything is checked, which online is gonna be checked. The only thing we gotta do is make sure the document verifies the age and residency, ownership.
You might need help, might be a lot of documents for one person.
We need to specify who those approvers are, I think are gonna be.
The driver's license and the property tax bill.
Well, and that's what Ralph sent with his. I mean,
Yeah.
he scanned in his real estate paid receipt and both his and his wife's driver's license.
Yeah.
So that was, adequate information to make a determination.
To me, why ask them if they paid if we already know whether or not they?
We don't know that till they're here.
Yeah, so if we tell them that.
If we don't know who's
required
applying, how do we
ahead
know
of
if they
time.
paid?
What year are you talking about they paid?
Well, in this instance, they'd have to pay 24 to apply in 25.
You already know that.
But I don't know who's applying until they come in.
What's your name? My name's Harry Otto. Collector's office. Harry, you still owe some tax. It's there or it's not. It's already, the answer is already known.
But maybe they wouldn't waste the time to come into the office if they knew that that is a prerequisite. They wouldn't come in here and then be told
I
that
mean,
they've
somebody
come
coming in
here.
here with a property tax receipt that says they paid, when I can tell them right here if they.
But if they bring their bill in thinking they don't have to pay it, they can come in.
Here it doesn't say that it has to be, you have to be current.
I don't think you're gonna have to worry about
Okay.
that
We're
really,
gonna add
but
that on there though.
What, somebody says they did pay, and they didn't. Are you gonna catch that one?
Should.
If somebody says, hey, I paid,
If they didn't bring a paid receipt with them, we're gonna look it up.
Right.
But we can save them a trip coming up here by saying, if you haven't paid your taxes, then you don't qualify.
Don't qualify.
That's-
Plus that receipt has their parcel ID on it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Things like
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think there's, you're gonna have the typical headaches on these, escrow, well, I've been paying my mortgage every month. Some of those slip, they get screwed up once in a while, right? I mean, sometimes the escrow payment doesn't get to you in time. It can happen, it has happened. Where the taxpayer thinks he's paid the tax because he makes a payment every month that includes insurance and taxes. And sometimes things get screwed up.
Yeah.
So
It
that's
is
those.
checkmarked on here if it's escrowed.
But it's,
It'll be the exception, not the rule.
yeah.
But I think you kind of have to design things to catch to the exceptions and the unanticipated.
Well, certainly by April, we would know if that were the case, if there was
Yes.
a missed
Well,
escrow payment or, I mean, those.
And that's like Jill said, she does not have the little folder you give us, because her lender pays the taxes, pays the insurance, and so she does not get
Get a
that
receipt.
little, she doesn't get that. So she's like, well, then what am I supposed to do? Well, Larry said they'd come down and get a receipt from you.
Yeah.
So it's just another step, but. you
They
know,
can, or
and-
we'll have the
somebody
ability to
comes
look
in
it
and
up
say-
while they're
and
sitting
you
there.
got the two questions.
You know,
and
if
they-
you go to title or pay for your car and sales tax now, and you don't take that with you, they just hit a few buttons and see that they paid. They don't make you.
Now
go
he's
back.
talking about what I told you initially. You just scan the license, you're already there, you can see if it's paid, not, you check, yes, no.
Scan what?
That your Missouri driver's license. No, but don't you already have it? I mean, you have it. If you add it on that D, they're saying that they're currently paid. And for the mortgage ones, you may have to look those up if you're unsure.
That's not gonna consume really any time at all, because if we have the tax inquiry part of DevNet up here for everybody doing this,
Right.
they can look them up
And no. Yep.
and know, I mean, that's
Yep.
not an issue.
And the person at home can go to your website and look up if they need a receipt or something and print it, or no, if they're current.
What, have you thought about the nosy neighbor who calls you and say, I want a list of those people who have applied?
Who?
Send us a sunshine request,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we'll make the clerk's office do it. It's okay, isn't it, Dawn?
Thanks for volunteering, Don.
Oh, yeah, great.
I think that the newspaper's gonna call you.
And ask who's applied?
Yeah.
No.
If there's
What the
somebody
hell do
over
they
there
care?
that's worth his salt, he will, because he's gonna come after me and say, did you apply? And if I say yes, they're going, but you voted against it. There's gonna be a lot of this. They're gonna go after the richest people in the community. And, no, listen, they're gonna go after the most affluent people in his community, find out that they applied, and find out how much school tax they were relieved of. Believe me, I'll bet you.
Yeah, I agree with Harry. I think that's true.
So you-
They're gonna
I
wanna
mean,
know if you
now
applied or
maybe
not,
the
because you were
answer
against
is
it, but,
To the
you know,
reporter
some
who
people
asked the
are
question,
against it and still
send a
apply.
sunshine request. I mean,
Mhm.
we'll fulfill.
So you're gonna be mad at somebody that's probably been paying these exorbitant taxes for 40-some years, and now all of a sudden they're saving $28 or whatever it is that year. I mean, I don't see that necessarily happen. I mean, they're paying how many more dollars more than other people for their kids to go to school that may not pay any property taxes. I mean, they may rent somewhere and not pay any property taxes whatsoever, so. I don't know. I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of nosy Nelly in there.
We can pick it to
And-
death here.
But like I said, you can tell them to ask sunshine requests.
So are we at a wrap-up point for today anyway? Or is there more things we need to?
What is our shoot date for application, April?
Whatever the week is after, that week of the 14th or whatever,
So the
16th, or
I think
it'd be the
Yeah,
next
March
week.
Tuesday,
The
Wednesday,
16th
Thursday,
will be
right?
23rd.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, we just talked about that.
So you do 23rd, start of
23rd.
April 23rd?
I mean, I would say that's still a tentative date, because
So we're shooting
we're
for-
somewhat dependent on Brian and Melissa.
I'm gonna be at a conference most of
Why
that
don't we
week,
go for May 1st?
Yeah.
or
There's
the
only one meeting
April
left.
30th if we mentioned.
Make it clean.
We'll be ready though. It'll be ready. The DocuSign stuff will.
I don't care, we can do May 1st, it doesn't matter to me. That'd make Mark happy.
And then do
It's in
it
April too. That-
till the end of June? So they've got May and June to file?
I don't think we need to necessarily set an end date. We can say that, but if we still have a large group of people still coming in every day, then I'd say we'd want to keep doing it for a while.
I think we should set an end date.
Okay.
But be prepared to extend it if things hit some kind of problem and we need to extend it.
Okay.
I see what you're saying, no, but I just think the longer we put it out there, the longer it gives people to wait.
So you can do May, June, and July, end of the last day of July.
That's fine if everybody's in agreement with that. I mean, we talked about
That's
3 months to begin
right,
with.
you know, it seems like, in Boone County, it's 3 months.
And you were gonna do a schedule that we could sign up on for blocks of time to assist?
Yes.
And make it, yeah, so everybody can see it and sign it.
Okay, so we were talking June 30th was kind of the cutoff day. Now we're going to July 31st is what we're shooting for. Is that?
I would do
We-
3 months.
Yeah,
I
we
think-
originally
I think
talked
that
3
gives
months,
them-
and
So May 1st to July 31st.
don't tell Mark, though.
That's a
Like
brutal.
I
what?
think that is better. There are gonna be people that, have June vacations that, you know, that get in the way of getting in here.
Okay, so we're kind of tentatively now, are we looking at April 30th or Thursday, May 1st?
Right, because the 30th is on a Wednesday, and April, May 1st is not till Thursday, and if you're doing it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, are you gonna extend it one day up, or just only do
We can
Thursday
stick to
and Friday?
5-1, it doesn't matter.
The 31st is
Uno
on
de
a
Mayo.
Thursday too, so it started.
Uno de Mayo
Or if we're gonna do a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we need to do a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we
April
either,
30th.
I think we all should put a number in the hat that how many, applications come in as of midnight on the 31st of July, and everybody's gonna put $1 in.
Nope, can't do that. Jill said you can't do that. That's gambling.
Is there a database that you can just go in and say how many have been approved? Like if the Tribune did call and say, how many applicants have you gotten and approved? Can you just get a quick number, or you gotta go through and have like
I
the
don't,
running thing
I don't know.
status?
We didn't ask that.
I would think
This
that that would
morning.
be able to pull if there's a
There is some
flag.
statistical stuff in there for that.
Yeah.
Just in case they say how many approved, how many denied, just gonna throw that out
I
there.
mean, if they've already been
You could
entered
make
and
a trophy for
everything, there
whoever
should
gets
be an
closest.
approved
Maybe
flag that they should be able to query.
Icicle on
Well,
a stand or
let's
something. you know,
let's
where
make sure we ask
How
Jackie
about,
that. Okay.
once the way has to slide down, a slide.
Oh, you gotta get tied to the post out front and get.
Yeah, I like
ice water
that.
balloons.
That was more fun.
Brian, how many stations are you going to have here?
5 is what I was told. They make it 6.
And they'll have scanners or whatever, so attached, if they bring their stuff, they can scan directly in.
They will have scanners.
So on April 30th is your last day to put your guess in for how many we will have on 7/31. And we'll figure out a prize. An icicle trophy or something.
Or a set of cornhole boards, maybe.
Popsicles for
That's the
everybody.
anniversary of the submarine USS Missouri. I'll give you a ride on the submarine. Of course, when they go out, they're
This is
on
being
about 6
recorded,
months.
Sam.
I know, well,
You can ride on it, not in it, do you hear me? I mean, he's.
You're gonna drown us. We'll have a birthday
Okay.
cake, we'll have a birthday cake on July 1st.
Do we need to have another meeting next Tuesday then to see if we have any questions or go through it or test it or anything, or?
I mean, some of the, like the form, I think the application we can do via email. The, form, I could probably,
I think we could wait 2 weeks,
yeah.
really.
Well, let's do that. If something comes up and we need to meet next Tuesday, we'll add it to the agenda, so. Melody, can you put us on the agenda for Tuesday, the
It'll have to be next week, 'cause I'm gonna have that conference.
15th again? Are you gonna be gone the 15th? Did you say, or the week after?
I will be, the week of the the 22nd through the 24th, I'll be out, so
We'll
next
have the
week I'll be
auditors-
here.
We'll have the
Oh,
auditors
no, I
in
won't be
here.
here Tuesday, I'm on vacation next
We'll have the
Tuesday.
auditors in here.
We're talking the
8th or
week
15th.
after that, though.
The 15th.
Huh?
The week
15th.
after. We're talking the week
Oh, you're
after that.
22nd.
The week of what?
The fifth-
22nd?
15th.
15.
Tax
Two
So
day.
the auditors.
The
will be
15th,
here.
I'm on vacation that day,
That's right.
so,
We can meet around them.
but I can show,
We'll give them a
maybe
break.
show
They need a lunch
Ryan
break,
how to,
so.
how to demo.
Because they just have their computer set up, they can do it right.
Okay, so do it April
That's
15th at
sketchy.
2 o'clock?
Can we do that then around the
Yeah.
auditors and
I can have show
Yes.
Brian how to demo that.
so?
Mark didn't reserve it for Tuesdays. The auditors, is that what you're saying?
Oh, he didn't?
No,
No.
Oh,
commission meeting days.
oh, that's good.
He did.
Then we're good.
It's open on Tuesday.
Then we're good.
Okay.
Okay, so April 15th at 2 o'clock. All right, got it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Melissa, I'll send you
Make
what's
motion
on
to
here that might be
recess
better.
until 4:30.
All in favor?
Yeah, we'll have to look at the application, y'all have to